Have you ever noticed that the Bible can't seem to make up its mind about how old a Levite has to be? In one place, it's 30. A few chapters later, it's 25. Then Ezra comes along and says, actually, make it 20. So what's going on here? Did God change the rules? Did Israel get desperate and lower the standards? Or is this one of those passages critics love to point to and say, see, contradiction? Today, we're going to slow this down and see why what looks like confusion on the surface is actually one of the clearest examples of how carefully Scripture handles maturity, responsibility, and ministry. This one is really interesting, folks, to see God working over time. Welcome to episode 215 of the Bible Difficulties and Answers podcast. I'm your host, Lance Smith. Today, we're tackling a question that, on the surface, looks like a straightforward contradiction. But underneath, it opens up a rich, textured picture of how God ordained ministry, maturity, and service among His people. Here's the problem. Numbers 4:3 says that Levites begin service at age 30. Numbers 8:24 says 25. Ezra 3:8 says 20. So which is it, 30, 25, or 20? Did Moses and Ezra disagree? Did Israel keep changing the rules? Or is there a deeper pattern here that actually strengthens our confidence in Scripture instead of undermining it? Now, before we go any further, let me acknowledge something. That's already a lot of numbers, and we're only a few minutes in. So if your brain is starting to feel like it's juggling bowling pins, 30, 25, 20, stick with me. By the end of this episode, those numbers won't feel random. They'll feel more like labels on clearly marked shelves. Let's read the verses from the New Living Translation so they're fresh on our minds. Numbers 4:3, our focus verse today. List all the men between the ages of 30 and 50 who are eligible to serve in the tabernacle. Numbers 8:24. This is the rule the Levites must follow. They must begin serving in the tabernacle at the age of 25. Ezra 3:8. The Levites who were 20 years old or older were put in charge of rebuilding the Lord's temple. Now, if you're listening to this while driving or working or knocking out chores, let me ask you something. Have you ever read passages like these and thought, wait a minute, did I miss something? Or maybe you've had someone point these out as a gotcha to prove the Bible contradicts itself. If that's you, this episode's for you. Because what we're going to see is that these three ages, 30, 25, and 20, are not random, and they're not in conflict. They describe different stages and different contexts of Levitical service. In other words, we're not looking at one rigid, universal starting age. We're looking at a structured, developing system that actually makes a lot of sense once you slow down and pay attention. Let's restate the issue clearly. Numbers 4:3 counts Levites from 30 to 50 for service in the tabernacle. Numbers 8:24 says Levites begin serving at 25. Ezra 3:8, centuries later, appoints Levites 20 and up to oversee the rebuilding of the temple. Norman Geisler and Thomas Howe in the Big Book of Bible Difficulties address this directly. They remind us that we must pay attention to the kind of work being done and the historical situation. Not all service is the same, and not every era in Israel's history required the same age structure. Let's walk through these passages in order. Let's take a look at first, age 30, the full, heavy tabernacle duty. Numbers 4 is not a general description of all Levitical activity. It's a census of specific Levitical clans, Kohath, Gershon, and Merari, for a very specific assignment, transporting the tabernacle and its furnishings while Israel was moving through the wilderness. Over and over, the chapter repeats this idea. Count all the men from 30 to 50 years old who are eligible to serve in the tabernacle of the Lord. And the responsibilities are serious. The Kohathites handled the most sacred objects after the priest covered them. The Gershonites deal with curtains and coverings. The Merarites haul frames, posts, bases, and structural components. This is heavy, physically demanding, and dangerous work. Mishandling holy things could be fatal, something Israel would learn later with Uzzah in 2 Samuel 6. So why 30 to 50? Because this census is targeting Levites in their prime, men old enough to be seasoned and reliable, but still strong enough for sustained physical labor. This is not about the first moment a Levite ever does anything near the sanctuary. It's about who is entrusted with the core, high-responsibility tasks during Israel's wilderness journey. Geisler and Howe point out that the Hebrew language in Numbers 4 emphasizes the official business or occupation of the tabernacle. These men are carrying the full weight of responsibility. So age 30 here is not the entry point into ministry, it's the entry point into maximum responsibility. Right? Let's look at age 25, and this is apprenticeship and general service. Now we come to Numbers 8, 24 to 26, which at first sounds like a competing rule. This is the rule the Levites must follow. They must begin serving in the tabernacle at the age of 25. But here's where we need to slow down and be precise. One of the biggest mistakes we make here is assuming that service always means the same thing. It doesn't. Think about it this way. Saying a Levite serves the tabernacle is a little like saying someone works at a hospital. That can mean they're the chief surgeon or that they're in orientation learning where the supply closet is. The same building, very different responsibilities. The passage goes on to say that after age 50, Levites retire from regular service but may still assist their fellow Levites. That distinction tells us something important. Not all service is the same. Many commentators understand the years from 25 to 30 as an apprenticeship period. From age 25, a Levite begins assisting, learning, guarding, observing, and gradually taking on more responsibility. By age 30, he is ready for the specific, demanding duties described in Numbers 4. A Bible Hub Q&A article asks why Numbers 8 specifies age 25 and notes that these 5 years function as a period of training and probation. GotQuestions.org makes a similar point. Old Testament ministry reflects a pattern of preparation under supervision before full responsibility is assumed. That 5-year window from 25 to 30 isn't wasted time, it's seasoning. Nobody wants their first day flying to be the day someone hands them the controls and says, "Good luck." God builds a runway before he expects takeoff. So when you put Numbers 4 and Numbers 8 together, you get a layered structure, not a contradiction. 25, begin tabernacle service in an assisting learning role. 30, take on full core responsibilities. 50, step back from heavy labor, but continue assisting and mentoring. In other words, turning 50 didn't get a Levite a gold watch and a tent in the back 40. It meant you've carried enough weight. Now, help others carry it as well. Think of it like a modern job. You don't hand someone the company truck and the biggest contract on day one. You train them, let them observe, and then trust them. And later, you don't discard them, you lean on their experience. God's system is actually pretty wise and far more humane than some organizational charts I've seen. Now, let's look at age 20. This is David, Ezra, and a new context. Now, we fast forward centuries to the time of David and then to the post-exilic period of Ezra. By David's reign, Israel is no longer wandering. The tabernacle isn't being carried from place to place, and a permanent temple is in view. In 1 Chronicles 23, David reorganizes the Levites and lowers the starting age of service to 20. The text tells us why. The Levites no longer need to carry the tabernacles or its furnishings. That single sentence changes everything. Geisler and Howe highlight this point. Without the heavy transport duties, the age requirement could safely be lowered. The Net Bible Study notes on Ezra 3:8 explicitly connect Ezra's age 20 reference to David's reform in 1 Chronicles 23:24-27. Ezra isn't innovating, he's applying an established Davidic precedent. There's also a practical reality here. Ezra 2:40 and Nehemiah 7:43 tells us that only 74 Levites returned from exile. 74. 74 Levites for a massive rebuilding project? That's not a staffing plan, that's a prayer request. When your entire worship department fits in a minivan, you don't bench capable people until they hit 30. Jason Yap, writing in the Journal of the Evangelical Theological Society, notes that Ezra 3 reflects a conscious restoration of Davidic worship patterns. This isn't desperation, it's continuity. So again, we don't have contradiction. We have adjustment to new circumstances. So let's put this all together. If all these numbers still feel a little slippery, here's another way to picture it. Think of them like road signs, not contradictions. 20 tells you where you can enter the road in the temple era. 25 tells you when training begins in the wilderness. 30 tells you when you're trusted with the heaviest load. Same road, different signs, different stretches. Here's the big picture. 20, temple era service and oversight in a settled context. That's David and Ezra. 25, entry-level tabernacle service and apprenticeship in the wilderness. 30, full responsibility for heavy, sacred transport duties. Different work, different eras. The same God, same purpose. Geisler and Howe push us to watch for the type of service and historical context. Once you do, the supposed contradiction evaporates. Ligon Duncan in Lamps, Levites, and Retirement makes a powerful observation. Biblical retirement is not withdrawal, it's redeployment. The Levites after 50 still mattered. They assisted, they mentored, they stayed engaged. That's a model worth recovering. So let me ask you, are you in a season of formation, more 25 than 30? Are you in a season of heavy responsibility, carrying the weight God has given you? Or are you in a season of mentoring, assisting, and strengthening others with experience? The numbers don't compete with each other, they cooperate. And once you see that, this passage stops feeling like a math problem and starts reading like wisdom. If this podcast is helping you think more clearly and confidently about Scripture, you can support the work at buymeacoffee.com/Lance Smith. Always appreciated, never expected. You'll find more episodes at BibleDifficultiesAndAnswers.podbean.com. You can email me at BibleDifficultiesAndAnswers@gmail.com or join the discussion on our Facebook page. Thanks for listening, for sharing the show, and for being a part of this community. I'm Lance Smith, wishing you good health, good study, and God's richest blessings. So long, everybody.